Well, if you could just talk about what you're out here doing tonight.
I'm just providing security for Black Lives Matter movement, leaders of Kenosha. I do this for any group out here that wants to protest peacefully. If they call me up and they're on the level and they want to be peaceful, fine. Okay, I'll come out. I'll protect you. As long as you keep it peaceful, I don't care what you're for or against. Just keep it peaceful and I'll keep you safe as I can.
Sounds like you're about the Second Amendment, protecting the First Amendment.
Yeah, yep. That's what the Second Amendment's for, to protect the First. That's my opinion.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
In this story, right, we have a story that, in my opinion, disproves another one of the things that the left-wing media likes to say, and people on the left like to say about the Kyle Rittenhouse situation, which is, well, if Kyle Rittenhouse was black, right? And one of the things they like to say outside of if Kyle Rittenhouse was black, he would have been convicted of murder or whatever, is that, well, if Kyle Rittenhouse was black and he was there with an assault rifle, right, then he would have been shot, right? He would have been shot, okay? He would have been shot by the police, right? Because black people apparently can't carry guns, right, without being shot by the police, or protect people's property without being shot by the police, according to them. And this story right here is a direct example of why, again, that narrative is just not true, right? Just not true. As an armed father/daughter duo march alongside anti-Rittenhouse protesters to protect them. Yes, let's read this headline one more time, guys. Armed father-daughter duo march alongside anti-Rittenhouse protesters to protect them, right? The same people who are protesting the fact that Kyle Rittenhouse was there to protect property, okay, and unfortunately had to use his weapon to protect himself, are using protection, right? Using a similar weapon, right? Maybe not the exact same weapon, but a similar weapon that Kyle Rittenhouse used to protect themselves. They're literally using services that they are protesting against. Again, it's funny how the left-wing people, it's almost like they don't actually believe the things that they say, that they simply are upset about Kyle Rittenhouse because he's white, right? That seems to be where a lot of the madness is coming from, is simply from the fact that he's white, not about what he did, but because he was white in what he did, right? Again, these people are probably some of the biggest racists in this country. But let's read here about this story, because I find this to be fascinating. And I want to play this video real quick before we read about this, in which you can see the father-daughter here walking with their firearms. Now, it is unclear whether or not these two were actually hired to do this by BLM, but it seems like BLM is not necessarily rejecting their services. And as I was researching these two, it appears that they cross state lines, according to Breitbart News, right? As they travel from the Chicago area all the way over to the Kenosha area to provide these services that they may or may not be providing for free. I don't know, right? I don't know. Okay, but he says he's doing them a favor. Okay, and these, two aren't necessarily even pro-Rittenhouse. They claim they're pro-Second Amendment, but they are not necessarily satisfied with the outcome of the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Okay, so that could explain why they're willing to actually march along with these people, but who knows? I don't know. Some people just don't understand that some people that they support actually don't really support them, right? These people are literally protesting against what they're doing, right? I'm not sure if they realize that, but who knows? What could go wrong in this situation, right? The mainstream liberal media tells us that this type of stuff is reckless behavior, right? So if anything goes wrong in a situation like this, hey, I expect to hear the same narrative from the mainstream media about crossing state lines, and yada, 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 yada. But I probably won't, because you guys know why. Protesters upset over the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse marched in Kenosha on Sunday in the presence of a Second Amendment supporting father-daughter duo armed with AR-15s that they said were to protect the demonstrators. Quote, we just do security for different groups. We're doing a favor for them. Erick Jordan, 50, told the Post while walking alongside his 16-year-old daughter, Jade. Jordan said he had been training Jade to use firearms since she was only 4, but only let her touch a weapon once she was 14. He said they were protecting a restaurant and 2 parking lots in the area on the night Rittenhouse shot 3 people, including 2 fatally amid protests over police conduct. Wait. Hold on. These 2, right? A girl, right, who is 16, probably was 15 at the time, were protecting a restaurant and 2 parking lots in the area on the night Rittenhouse shot 3 people, right? So wait. They were in the area doing the exact same thing Kyle Rittenhouse claimed that he was doing at the time. And they walked free. They were not shot by the police on the spot. And they're black. Bruh, if you listen to people on the left, they would tell you that this is impossible. It's impossible for black people to do what Kyle Rittenhouse was doing, right? And get away with it, right? We've already saw and point out numerous examples of black people getting off on self-defense. I mean, you have felons, right, that was shooting at police officers that got off on self-defense. We've seen that. Now we're seeing an example of 2 people who were there in the area on the night that Kyle Rittenhouse had to, unfortunately, shoot 3 people who were doing basically the same thing that Kyle said he was doing. Now, in all transparency here, right, I do want to play a clip of, the testimony in court in regards to the whole Kyle protecting the business thing, because there's some discrepancies here, right? There's competing stories, as the owners of the car dealership, the car lot that Kyle said that he was asked to protect, basically said that they didn't ask Kyle to protect. Well, the son of the owner, or the guy that handles the finance, says that. And I want to play this clip just so we're in full transparency here in terms of kind of how that went down. Take a look.
Of the man who owns the car dealership property severely damaged and destroyed during the unrest, and where the shootings occurred, taking the stand. As Fox 6's Bill Misson explains, testifying they did not ask people to come and protect the property.
As day 4 of testimony in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse wrapped up, marchers supporting Anthony Huber and Joseph Rosenbaum marching around Civic Center Park this afternoon. As inside this afternoon, we learned the owners of the car dealership where the shootings occurred say they didn't ask for anyone's protection of the property.
Did you ever have any discussions that day with anyone about protecting or guarding either of the Car Source locations or Car Doctor?
No, sir.
The sons of the owner of the Car Source dealerships and repair shop saying Friday afternoon that they didn't get permission for anyone to be inside or on the property, but one of the men describing interacting with Rittenhouse hours before the shootings, before the curfew began.
Tell us what you remember about him coming to you at that location.
He talked about how he can help us with fundraising the business. And I'm sure he asked for my phone number, which I gave it to him, just like I gave it to the media or any other individual who was nice and polite.
On cross-examination, Rittenhouse's defense attorney pressed the witness to say whether or not people were requested to protect the property. And saying in a previous interview given, the man said the business suffered a couple $1 million in damages. The witness said he didn't know, as his father handles the money portions of the business.
All right, guys, so you see that, you heard that, and I'm playing that clip out of transparency, right? Because some people might say, well, the owner of the shop said that he didn't ask Kyle to protect the shop. Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? In my opinion, from dealing with, Indian folks, they tend to be some of the most savvy people when it comes to business, especially when it comes to liability. And I think that, they're just trying to avoid liability. Again, I don't know, but I find it strange how you let a bunch of young men on your property with assault rifles and you take pictures with them and then don't tell them to actually leave the property. You allow them on the property. I feel like that to me is mighty strange if you didn't actually ask them to be there, or if you didn't want them to be there. Okay, usually, again, if you're a business person and somebody's on your property and you don't want them on your property, you're going to ask them to leave, right? You're going to call the police and say, hey, there's a bunch of dudes out here with rifles on my property. Can we do something about this? But that's not what they did, right? It's almost as if they wanted them to be there, or they agreed that they would be there to protect the property. But I don't know. Under oath, he said that that wasn't the case, right? He didn't want to ask them to leave because they were armed. But hey, believe what you want to believe. I'm just saying, Rittenhouse says he was there to protect the property, right? Which is literally what these people were doing that night, which is protecting property. So were they wrong for being there, right? Should they not have been there? Is the mainstream liberal media gonna say they shouldn't have been there? Okay, they had no right. Especially this is a girl, right? A daughter, right? A daughter. He had his daughter out there. Again, the article says he said they were protecting a restaurant and 2 parking lots in the area on the night Rittenhouse shot 3 people. Because the mainstream media guys, if you listen to them, they'll make you think that, well, Kyle was the only person out there with a firearm protecting property, right? They'll make you think that that's true if you listen to them, but that's not even true. We know for a fact that's not true, right? It looks like it's not even true, the narrative that he was the only underage person out there with a firearm protecting property. Rittenhouse has claimed he fired in self-defense, though I probably wouldn't have fired my weapon, Jade said. Okay, so yeah, this right here, this quote literally is them confirming that a 16-year-old girl, 15 probably at the time, with a rifle was out there, right? Was out there doing the same thing Kyle Rittenhouse is doing. Now, they saying they probably wouldn't have fired. But again, she wasn't actually in the situation, right? She wasn't getting hit by a skateboard and, had a gun pointed at her. So who knows, right? It's easy to say that when you're not actually in that situation. Her father said of the verdict, it is what it is. The jury did their job and this is America, he said. I mean, look, if I'm the father, if the jury would have ruled any other way, I would be concerned, right? Because it sounds like this is a part of his job, right? And if they would have ruled any other way, if I was him, I would be highly concerned for my career and for my livelihood, okay? Because if that's not self-defense, I don't know what is. So for him, he doesn't have a choice but to agree with the jury, okay? The Jordan said they had been invited by march organizers to protect participants who number about 75 in total. Demonstrators carried signs with messages such as the whole system is guilty and cops and fascists give license to kill in the USA. The Reverend Jesse Jackson had been expected to attend the march but did not make it. Okay, so I wonder these people would be upset if these 2 people that they hired, right, or asked to protect them would have had to use their weapons to defend their lives, right? I wonder what they've been upset about that, right? The same way they were upset about Kyle Rittenhouse defending his life. I wonder why they're not protesting the fact that he appeared to carry his daughter across state lines, his 16-year-old daughter across state lines, armed, allegedly, according to the Breitbart. I wonder why they're not upset about that, right? They should be protesting against that because that's a part of the narrative that the mainstream liberal media pushed about Kyle Rittenhouse. That wasn't true, that he drove across state lines with a weapon. In this situation right here, according to Breitbart, could not be wrong. I don't know. But they traveled across state lines with a weapon, right, to defend people. But like I said, guys, it's funny because this story right here disproves so many different narratives about the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing that you hear that mainly involves around this idea that Kyle Rittenhouse experienced some type of unique white privilege, right? It was white privilege for him to be able to shoot 2 people and a walk free, right? It's white privilege that he was out there with a firearm and didn't get shot in the first place. It's white privilege that he got off on self-defense. All these narratives are being disproven with real life examples of black people in similar situations that get off, that survive, that don't get shot by the police. It's all been disproven, right? And here we are with BLM, people that are literally protesting against the right to self-defense, using and hiring people for defense in the same way that Kyle Rittenhouse allegedly was hired for defense. Again, it's kind of crazy, man. It is crazy how all these narratives are literally being debunked all at one time. It's crazy. But anyways, Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.